This is a video going over the differences in the old SAT and the new digital SAT for the math portion only. So the old paper SAT will still be proctored in spring of 2023. The digital version won't start until spring of 2024. The old version had 2 sections of math, 20 questions and 38 questions for a total of 58. The new one has 2 modules, 22 questions each, 44 total questions. The old one was 80 minutes combined, most of that in the calculator portion. The new one, the time is split down the middle, and you have 70 minutes total. So this is a shorter test, and you get less time to answer them, but you get more time per question. The old test, there were 20 questions that you could not use a calculator on. That is not the case for any question on the new digital SAT. You can use a calculator for everything. On the old test, there was 13 fill in the blanks out of 58, and on the new one, there's 11 out of 44. So it's a slightly higher proportion of the questions that are fill in the blank. You can still bring a calculator, but on the new version, you can also use a built-in Desmos calculator, which I'll show a few features in just a moment. On the old SAT, each problem was worth the same. Therefore, the sections were weighted at 38 and 20. You just took your raw score out of 58 and found your score out of 1600, or out of 800 for the math, rather. The general pattern on the old SAT was that questions got more difficult the higher the number. And that started over with the fill-ins, but it gave you some test-taking strategies in terms of where are the difficult questions. On the new SAT, I did a test on Module 1. I put in 22 right answers and I scored a 560 out of 800. I put in 22 right answers on Module 2 and I scored a 430 out of 800. So definitely the problems are weighted differently, or perhaps the sections. I know that there is an easy module and a hard module. Try it yourself, you'll see. One of the modules will take more time and all of the questions are more difficult. Let's jump over to Blue Book. Built into the test application, there is a reference sheet. You see formulas for things like area and circumference of a variety of shapes, Pythagorean theorem, special right triangle stuff, volume formulas, arc and radian in degrees and radian for circles, and then sum of the measure of interior angles with triangles, 180. The calculator that's built in, you can do basic calculations and square roots and trigonometric ratios and quite a few different functions if you look through this option menu. And you can switch back and forth from radians to degree mode. So those are things that students would benefit from knowing, being familiar with those options. Probably a plus here is that you don't have to solve for y to plug things in and graph them. If you're using a TI calculator, you had to do that. If you got a problem like x plus y is equal to 5, you would subtract x on both sides and enter it in that way. Here you can enter it in directly. Another nice feature is you can zoom in and out really easily just with your mouse compared to having to manually change the windows or going to certain window options. And it's also easy to trace. I clicked and dragged along this parabola and I can plot a variety of points. I can quickly identify that the vertex is 0, -4, or that the x-intercepts are 2, 0 and -2, 0. In fact, it had these 3 points already pre-selected for me. There is also a difference in the distribution of problem types, but I'm going to study that a little bit more, and perhaps I'll make another video about that one. Long story short, new test. They cover certain topics more than they used to, and they also dropped some, and they added brand new topics.